Hello, my name is Amy Sturkey. I am a pediatric physical therapist. I am with Nathan Todd, and Nathan Todd is a guy that when I was a really young therapist, and he has cerebral palsy, and I found him on social media, and he's got a whole social media presence in his own right. You want to tell us about it?
Well, I think first and foremost, let's talk about when you first knew me. I was a kid with blonde hair. Now I'm a guy with no hair. But yeah, so I am the loneliness coach, and I'm helping people eradicate loneliness through conversation. And that's really my hope. And part of my story with cerebral palsy is all about that and peeling back those labels that hold you back from being who you're meant to be.
When we were last talking, you were talking about your experience in middle school and how tricky that was. You just started a new school, and all your support networks that had been with you in a previous school were gone.
Yeah.
And just how tricky that was. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, I think so. When we left off, I was talking about the importance of finding the people that do see you. What ended up happening in my 6th grade year was got pulled out and started being homeschooled. I mean, that's really what happened with all the bullying that was going on. And, you know, it wasn't all about kids either that were bullying. It was more about administration stuff that was happening.
Wow.
And so I'm sure somebody that's watching can relate to that. But I spent a little bit of time being homeschooled, and, you know, it was helpful to get out of that environment. And yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. The things that I really remember about homeschooling, other than doing the schoolwork, is going bowling for PE and then doing music class. So going to some lady's house to learn to play piano. I can't play piano, by the way, but I can bowl pretty well. And that was a rough journey in and of itself. But at some point, it was like, yeah, I need to be around other kids.
You're such a people person.
And so we made this decision, go back to school. And so luckily my dad was a teacher, so I could go to any school within the district. And so went to a new school and started by going to one class per day, then getting taken out of the class, and then adding. So it wasn't just like, okay, let's throw you. Yeah, it wasn't like throw you back into this circumstance that we just got out of. But I remember my mom, so I'd be getting homeschooled, then going to the one class. And she's like, okay, I'm giving you homework, Nathan. And this homework is happening when you're at school. And you're not at home. And so she would give me a note card, and she would say, I want you to meet the one kid. I want you to get their name. I want you to get their phone number, and I want you to get one thing that they like to do. And out of that process, I was in, I think it was 3 weddings just based off of that.
Really?
Yeah. So moms do sometimes know what they're talking about. But I think that's like one of the amazing things is sometimes it just takes a little bit of progress at a time. And so as parents, right, if you're watching, it's just like walking, like the social aspects of everything. If there's a struggle that's happening, it's taking one step at a time. And I think that's the important part about that story.
All right. So you went on from you went to college too.
Yep, graduated high school, then went on to college, and you know, it was an interesting experience for sure. High school does not prepare most people for college. I don't think, but college
is more spread out too. So I imagine inherent in that were more challenges.
Yeah. So first and foremost, they're only going to talk to you when you go to college because you're the adult. So if you've not been, luckily throughout my career, my mom always made me go to all my meetings, regardless of how young I was, because that was really helpful in that experience. And it's really about the ability to have the conversation with the people and recognizing that an accommodation doesn't, like, it's not something extra that you just have just to make you different. It's something to help you like get the most out of your experience in school. And I know most people struggle with asking for accommodations, and it's because of that fear of the judgment of, oh, well, what happens if they know that I go and get extra time on my test? What happens if they know I set up my time to go take this test in this room?
And this is the they in this, is that the other students?
Other students, yeah. Right. Yeah.
And so you felt worried that they would judge you?
Oh, no, not me. But I saw that because I worked in the disability services office for my student job. And
so you met other people who worried about that.
And even like the athletes, they would come and do the same thing for having to go and go to their games or whatever. They would schedule their tests like that. But some of them also had accommodations, and they did not want anybody knowing that they're an athlete, but they're also somebody that's labeled as somebody with a disability. And I think that's one of the most powerful things you can do as a parent, especially when your kid is young, is know that disability is not a bad word. It's not a word that equals something like a burden, because that's what a lot of people carry around, is they think they're a burden. And I think the most important thing about the conversation to have it is because guess what? All the services say that, hey, you're a person with a disability. But I've seen people that are people with disabilities and would be defined that way say, oh, I don't have one. And it's like, oh, you're missing out on a lot of things that are available to you because somebody didn't want you to say you have a disability.
Well, and you think because you went with your mom on the other meetings that you were able, when you were in college, to be able to step up and say, this is support I need?
Yeah. And it's just like going to the gym, right? Going to physical therapy. I was repping out the ability to talk about the things that I needed help with.
And your mom was an advocate not only for you, but just as a part of her career. So that was, you saw advocacy throughout your childhood. So you kind of primed for that. Yeah.
And I mean, a perfect example, right, is we talked about the SDR surgery.
Right.
So up until it was my time to have that, it wasn't covered in the state of South Carolina by insurance companies. And so that was a big part of my mom's advocacy, was to get that covered by insurance. And not only for me, but for the other kids that would go through that in the future.
Right. Well, it sounds like you were in the best possible situation then to be able to have the support you needed. You were able to go in and out of school as you needed, a mom that was able to be able to homeschool you, for you to be able to go in progressively, and then to be able to go to college and get the support you needed.
Yeah.
Those are all really helpful discussions for people who haven't been there yet and know what's coming. I really appreciate you helping us with this.
All right. I love it.
Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
If you liked this video and would like to be notified by email when the next video comes out, click the subscribe button here and click the golden bell icon and ensure notifications are enabled on your account.